Hi there, how you doing? Welcome to your energy art reading for the week of the 13th to the 19th of May. My name is Vicky Paul. I'm an intuitive and an artist, and I use creativity to help you reconnect with who you are and to help guide you through your life so that you can walk a more aligned path. And today's reading has got a bit of colour in it, which is interesting, and also connecting in with something that's been happening certainly over the UK this last week was the Aurora Borealis, which is beautiful. But I'm going to start off with four words that came through to me. So we had whole, toys, healing, and aching. And I'm going to come back to these, but I feel on the whole, this week is about looking at how you can become whole again. What is going to make you feel whole? Who's going to make you feel whole? And we talked in the previous readings collectively for the whole of the month of May, but also last week about looking at your shadow side, this whole energy around transformation that's sailing through the month of May. And to be whole, we have to look at the light and the dark within us, look at the shadow side of who we are and accept and embrace that aspect of ourselves. So I feel very much more as we head into this week and through this week, you will be guided to understand what is going to make you feel more whole as a human and spiritual being. And that images will come to you in your dreams. You'll have feelings. Maybe you'll meet somebody and have a conversation with them. The word toys came through, and I really feel this is about the energy of being playful, which again is the energies of last week, being a bit more childlike, a bit more fun, having a bit more lightness in your life and playing and exploring. Kids use toys to play and explore and understand who they are. They use toys to learn, and they also use toys to sort of ignite their imagination. And I really feel that it's important for us all to spend more time in our imagination, allow ourselves to have the opportunity to just dream, fantasize, and understand what that actually means for us. So connecting with where our dreams, our aspirations, and our fantasies head off. And interestingly, I got the image of a glass slipper, which I'll get to later on in the reading. And that's very much about the energies of Cinderella, the fairy tale. I also get the energies of healing. There's a lot of healing going on at the moment, which can be wonderful and releasing, but it can also be a bit bumpy. So it may well be that you're still carrying these energies. And I think, to be honest, for a lot of us, it's going to be through the whole of the month of May. They might have felt a wee bit more intense last week. The sort of energies and that stormy energy that we're feeling last week has started to settle a wee bit, which is why the Aurora Borealis came through to me. Again, we'll get to that. So a lot of healing happening on a personal and collective level. And that could well be healing physically, but I also feel it's part of the sort of emotional and spiritual transformation that's happening with all of us. I then got the word aching, and this is twofold for me. Our body, if we're not paying attention to the universal signs or our inner voice, then that calling and that lack, that block tends to present itself physically. So I want to bring to your attention any parts of your body that are actually physically aching. If you've got any kind of aches and pains in your body, have a feel into what's happening in that area and see if you can sense why there's pain in that specific area. And if you don't have any sort of immediate sense for that, then don't worry. The internet is awash with guidance about the spiritual and metaphysical meaning of pain in certain aspects of your body. And Louise Hay has got a brilliant book, You Can Heal Your Life. And she does a whole load of, or has a whole load of information about what the different areas in your body relate to from an emotional and spiritual point of view. I then got a tower, which I think I got in the last couple of readings or the previous reading. But this is more than just the tower. This also felt like a tower block. So it felt like an urban environment. So it may well be that some of you live in an urban environment, are thinking about moving to or from this kind of area. But to me, it ties in with this sense of fast pace, too much going on, clutter, and sort of that kind of unhealthy lifestyle. While it's very tantalizing, and it's you get a right buzz off living in the city centre and all the kind of vibrancy that involves. It can sometimes be a wee bit overwhelming, and I feel, because I saw such a tall building, it almost feels that you are in this process of reaching for something. So when we're going up either in a lift or stairs, we're climbing up towards, whatever it may be that we're looking for. And the penthouse is traditionally always the sort of the apartment in the, in a high rise, and it has amazing views. And I feel that we are on this journey to our inner penthouse, and that can be spiritually symbolic as well, that some of you are on a spiritual journey and you are heading towards, higher realms. But I feel it's got a lot to do with the buzz and buzz of the city. Whilst it is very enticing, it can be quite overwhelming. And I feel for this energy, for us to feel a sense of wholeness, we have to balance that with nature. And if you watch the previous two videos, nature came through for both last week's energy and the collective energy of May. And this is the very antithesis of nature in this built up environment. So it could well be that this is the balance coming into the energy in May, that we were all about nature in the last couple of readings. And this is the balance, that there's a yin and yang coming into it. But it could also mean that there's a tower moment happening. And in terms of tarot cards, the tower moment means endings. It means something is crumbling away. And that could be some of your aspects of self are crumbling away. And that's the energies that I've carried through from the previous week. But endings are always part of new beginnings, and things have to come to an end for us to step forward in a new direction or in a new path, or to invite new energies in. I then got the image of a spider on a web. And this is a really interesting energy for me, because spiders are all about patience and resilience, and they're creative. I mean, there's spiders' webs are just absolutely, sorry, I'm covering my face. Spider webs are just beautiful. And particularly when you see them with the dew on them, they're just magical. And they're very symbolic in terms of their energy and about being connected to everything. So this energy is very much about creativity and connection for me. So it could well be that you are finding yourself feeling more creative, but it's more than that. It's about creating the life that you want, but having the patience and having the resilience to manifest that, because a spider will sit there in complete steadfast silence, just waiting for its prey to land in the web. And I feel that particularly with the energy of this urban environment, it's all about the fast pace now. You can get everything you want at the drop of a hat. This is almost the sort of opposite energy, where it's about being patient, being calm, setting up the lay of the land, putting all your plans in place and just waiting to see what happens. I then got the energy of a cave. And this is, to me, about retreating in, because the cave is sanctuary, and it's all about almost hiding, but not hiding. There's two aspects to this. I feel this is about inner sanctuary, and it's about taking a step back and just retreating in to really listen to the silence and allow what needs to come up. And being in a safe space and being able to look out beyond this sort of cave environment and seeing life and the world just unfold in front of you. But you are almost in this sort of semi-hibernation state where you are just rejuvenating and taking a step back and waiting for the right time to step forward into life. I then got, very randomly, the image of a cucumber, which, to be honest, it looks a wee bit phallic, and it could well be. It could well be that some of you are feeling a bit more sexual at the moment, and why not? Enjoy, make the most of it. It's also interesting, and I had to look into this, but it's associated with the sacral chakra, which again is associated with the seat of creativity and our sexual energy. So that kind of ties in with what's happening with the spider's web. But they are about balance. And when I first drew this, the energies felt very much about refreshing and beauty. You know how they kind of cut cucumbers and they put them up on your eyes to sort of reduce the puffiness around your eyes, and they're used in face masks and that kind of thing, just as a kind of cooling and refreshing and youthful and beautifying treatment. So it may well be that some of you are spending a bit more time and care and energy looking after yourself, which is no bad thing. If we feel good on the outside, that can help us feel good on the inside. But I also feel that this is to do with the balancing of the masculine and feminine energies, which is very much about the yin and yang, the light and shade, the action and the receiving energies. And this is collectively what's happening across the month of May, where we are really being invited to find that balance. And I feel that specifically this particular week for some of you, it will be about spending a bit more time looking after yourself. I feel that for a lot of you, you spend time either looking after other people or you're too frazzled. This energy of living in this hustle and bustle, there's too much frazzled energy that you just don't have time to look after yourself and find that balance. So if you're not already doing some kind of sort of self-care routine, then perhaps this is the week to introduce some self-care so that you start to sort of love yourself and spend time looking after yourself. And this is also the energy, the masculine energy is very much about action, go-getting, whereas the feminine energy is much more about receiving. So if you are too much in one or the other, this week is all about trying to find that balance. So easing off a little or stepping up a little, dependent on which energy you're sitting more into. I then got the image of the Aurora Borealis. And if you saw any of the photographs doing the round on the social medias, not on the social medias, on social media, you'll see that there was a lot of pinks and blues. And previously, when I've seen Aurora Borealis, there's been a lot of blue and green and yellow. So it's really interesting that that sort of feminine pink energy has come through. And this is the energies of creativity. It's the energy of spirituality. So, and I feel that this is connected to the storm energy that came through last week, because Aurora Borealis is all about, has been started by the kind of electromagnetic storms that are happening in the skies. And I feel because there's no storm clouds this week and it's a much more beautiful thing to look at, I feel that that kind of heavy energy around the storms has passed for a lot of us, and we're beginning to see the light and the beauty of what is unfolded in that stormy energy, because the storms clear the skies. The storms are all about a buildup of energy. It just explodes, the lightning, the rain, the thunder. And once that all just erupts, the clouds clear, we begin to see more clearly again. And I feel that with all that light that came through with the Aurora Borealis, that beautiful spectacle, it feels that, again, tying in with this sort of cucumber energy, believe it or not, that we are beginning to see the beauty again in not only ourselves, but in life, in each other, in the universe. I then got the image of a glass slipper, and whilst the slipper image came through, there was 2 or 3 things that I felt when I had this image in my head. And I feel, first of all, in the story of Cinderella, they go around and they try the shoe on lots of different people to see who it fits. And I feel that that's a real strong calling for a lot of us, is that it's about trying different things on for size to just see what fits. And again, tying in with that energy from last week and the toys from this week, is just playing and not taking it too seriously, trying it on for size. If it doesn't fit, let it go, try something new. So some of you may find that this is energy that you're already beginning to tap into. If you're not, and there's been different things that have been mulling about in your head, and this week's all about just going for it, just trying lots of different things on for size. But it's also about treading carefully. It's a glass slipper. It's not a trainer. It's not a big boot. So it's also about treading carefully with yourself and with other people. And I also feel when I got this image, it was about the energies of Cinderella and the fairy tale. So this will also tie in with the invitation to use our imagination a wee bit more, but it's also about leveling up. You know, the story of Cinderella, you know, she was, you know, at the bottom rung of her ladder with her stepsisters and her stepmom. She just was unloved, and she had to, you know, clean the house, clean the fire. And then she ended up in this ball in this beautiful dress. Her fairy godmother came in and, you know, fell in love. So this feels about leveling up. And I'm laughing because I'm never going to get a job describing a movie or a film. Um, However, this energy is about leveling up. She's gone from this girl who's in really drab, dreary clothes that are all torn and ragged, and she's, you know, running after everybody, cleaning up after everybody, to this princess or potential princess with this Prince Charming and this beautiful, charmed life. So I feel that for some of you, this week's energy is all about inviting you to level up. And it could well be that part of that is about trying things on for size and just taking that step forward tentatively with the glass slipper. But it's also about being loved, loving yourself. And it's about, for me, because Cinderella was a fairy tale, this is really about the energies of beginning to fantasize again about what it is that we want, because anything can happen in a fairy tale. And I feel for a lot of us, because things have been such a struggle for such a while, you know, off the back of the pandemic and everything, you know, I can't believe we're still talking about it, but the energies are still residual. It feels that life is a struggle for, well, for a lot of us in various different aspects. And this feels like an invitation to actually start to just explore what's possible again. I then got the image, and it's not well drawn, so apologies. But believe it or not, this is a nun in a habit. And I got this really strong image of the black and white. And I feel that two things, the word habit came through. So I feel that some of you are going to be adopting new healthy habits. Some of you are going to be invited this week to let go of habits that are not serving you and not supporting you anymore. And I feel that this is also about sort of, I don't want to say piety, but it's about sort of purity and looking after yourself, supporting one another, being a bit more devoted to yourself and and I don't want to say the finer things because that's the wrong word, but just what makes you a better human being? How can you become a more wholesome, a better human being? Because when we actually embrace that energy, it feels so much better because we have ripple effects off on other people, and that interaction becomes a much more positive exchange. So I feel that this is about a bit of self-discipline. It's about leading a more clean, pure life. And again, this could also be tied in with cucumber and that kind of cleansing and refreshing energy. But nuns are very much about providing guidance and support and supporting the community. And I feel that that is also something that's going to be weaved into the energies of this week. I then got the image of a pearl in a shell. And I got the word an oyster. So it feels like for some of you, this week you will be called, maybe through this fairy tale energy, to explore that the world actually is your oyster. The world is your oyster. But what was interesting when I drew this, and I don't know if you can see, this is the kind of clam shell and this is the pearl here. If you turn this up that way, it kind of looks like a butterfly, which also is very relevant because this month is all about transformation. Even the energies of the glass slipper and Cinderella is transformation. And I feel that so much of the energies of the moment are about transformation and becoming more aligned with who you are. And this nun energy, I feel, is also about guidance and wisdom. So perhaps seeking a bit more spiritual or religious, if that's your thing, guidance and wisdom will help you understand what these positive habits are that you should start to integrate into your life to really understand who you are and to embrace that energy of the world as your oyster, because when we feel overwhelmed by life, we tend to sort of hunker down. We go into our cave, we retreat into our cave, and our world all of a sudden becomes very small and very insular. And we live from a place that is more informed by fear than love. And I feel this oyster energy is a calling for those of you who are prepared to take that step forward, albeit very tentatively because of this glass slipper, that you will discover that the world is your oyster, that you can go anywhere, be anything, live anywhere, and actually just to expand yourself beyond your horizons. And this could be something that you do in your mind, it could be something that you do physically. So there's definitely a call to expand our horizons and really just connect fully. This spider energy, this web, is just to again remember the interconnectedness of everything and the support that is there. Even if you wanted to go from one side of the web to the other, it's all structured and all supported in together. I then got, the final image was a screw. So this is a screw, as in, a screw that you would put in from a DIY perspective. So some of you may be doing some DIY, but this energy feels to me about, a screw brings two things together and holds them securely. Now, whether that's, a hook to put a painting on a wall, it brings it together, whether it's two pieces of wood or it's a screw that holds the door frame onto the door hinge onto the door frame. A screw really binds and brings two things together. And I feel that is what that energy is about. It's about turning into that energy and bringing two aspects of self or two people or two things together. It could also be a bit tongue-in-cheek to do with this cucumber and this phallic energy that you just need a good screw. I will put a child warning on this. And again, that's about this playful energy, and it's about loving yourself and about just tapping into that sacral energy and that creative energy, because we are sensual human beings. And when we don't embrace that aspect of self, we lose that intimate connection, not only with ourselves, but with other people. And when we are fulfilled in that area of life, and I know this is not going to be relevant for everyone, but it really helps us open up to the possibilities of the creativity that is open to us, because we create every moment of every day of our lives. And when I talk about creativity, I don't just talk about the creative arts like music, dance, drama, writing, painting. I'm talking about creating your life rather than reacting to your life. And it could also be around this energy of fertility. So some of you may be trying to fall pregnant. Some of you may be expanding your family as part of expanding your horizons. So again, these are very general readings. So as I say to everybody, just take what resonates, and some of it will resonate, some of it will not. And although this is for the week of the 13th to the 19th of May, I do feel that if you find this out with this week, there will be something in this reading that is going to resonate with you. So as ever, I would really appreciate if the energies have resonated. Please like and subscribe. That's easy for me to say. Like, share, and subscribe the video. Subscribe to the video so that you don't miss the next reading. I do them every week. And also, it lets me know that this type of reading and this type of energy is actually connecting with you. There's a lot of people offering great guidance and great wisdom out there through tarot and astrology. So this is something a wee bit different. And actually, it's something that you can do yourself just by tuning in and drawing what symbols come through and just looking into it and feeling for what comes up to you. So thank you very much for watching again, and I will see you next week.